So COVID hits. First time I went to California since COVID was June of 2021. So over a year into COVID, but they still had, it was not like Florida. So I'm out there doing stuff like fun or all this stuff. And I told my staff, I'm like, look, I'm not wearing a mask. I'm going to do my thing. So you put me wherever you want to put me, but just understand, I don't want any confrontation or anything, but I'm going to live like I live in Florida. So I get there. First day I'm there, I'm waiting. The cars are coming to pick me up. I'm on the curb. These two guys in masks come scurrying over to me. I'm like, oh God, here we go.
So as a new Floridian, one of the things that's constantly on my mind is what can I do for this state? And I really mean that. What can I do for this state that I feel like a refugee? I am a refugee. I genuinely feel like I came from another country, and thank God you guys speak English here. That's basically where I'm at. But so what do we do? What do we do to defend Florida? Because the more that Florida does it right, the more that the machine, whether that's the media or the political machine or just the elite machine, whatever you want to call it, the more it is going to stare down you, stare down these folks. What do we do to just keep this state right?
Well, I think it's a great question. And before I answer it, just let me say this about California. So first time...
You got to put money in the jar, man. That's the deal.
So COVID hits. First time I went to California since COVID was June of 2021. So over a year into COVID, but they still had, it was not like Florida. So I'm out there doing stuff like fun or all this stuff. And I told my staff, I'm like, look, I'm not wearing a mask. I'm going to do my thing. So you put me wherever you want to put me, but just understand, I don't want any confrontation or anything, but I'm going to live like I live in Florida. So I get there. First day I'm there, I'm waiting. The cars are coming to pick me up. I'm on the curb. These two guys in masks come scurrying over to me. I'm like, oh God, here we go. One guy gets right in front of me, pulls down his mask, looks me right in the eye and says, I wish you were our governor. Put on the mask and left. So you never know. And so it was interesting. But what I would say is, when you're looking at big time fail, buddy, big time fail. Part of what we're doing, I think, now is we've been able to create so much momentum that, like 2018 election, very close call for the state of Florida when I got elected. Because if I had not gotten elected, none of you who moved here would have moved here, and some of you that lived here probably would have moved away. Just the truth. But when I got elected, we had almost 300,000 more registered Democrats in the state of Florida than Republicans, and we never had more registered Republicans in Florida prior to me becoming governor. Well, negative 300,000 November of 2018, June 1st, 2022, we have 150,000 more registered Republicans. Now, so I think that is telling us that we have an opportunity to really solidify the direction that the state's going this November. And so I would say, my election, very important, and we just need a massive turnout. And I think we can get it. People will come up to me who you can tell are not super political, and they'll thank me for saving their job. They'll thank me for saving their kids' education. They'll thank me for saving their business. And they want to be helpful. So we have an opportunity to do that. And I think that that's absolutely critical. But I also think, we've got a lot of great people that have moved in here. I mean, you look at down in Miami. Miami is like this. I mean, first of all, it's never boomed the way it's booming, but it's moving right. And there aren't very many urban environments in this country that are really moving right. And, part of it is the demographics. I mean, you look at our Hispanic communities, they are conservative, and they want to make sure that this country doesn't repeat the mistakes of these other countries in Latin America, where you had Marxism take over Cuba, Venezuela, all these other places. And so I think particularly with you guys in South Florida, Because it used to be South Florida would be like huge blue, then you'd have pockets of blue, Orlando, Gainesville, whatever, and the rest would either be really red or maybe kind of purple. And now South Florida is becoming much more conservative, and I think that's largely, I think it's two. I do think it's a result of the migration, and I think it's a reaction against Brandon's policies, which, let's be honest, have not been terribly successful. When I did the budget thing today, we were at the Villages, and I just point out, there's recent news reports. He's so frustrated that his approval ratings are in the toilet. And he's lashing out at his staff, blaming this, blaming that. And I'm just thinking to myself, you have a situation where, you came in, and oh, by the way, for any more of those people that are out here, we're not gonna let them take away your constitutional rights. Not gonna happen. But you have, but Brandon, he's lashing out, blaming other people, and I'm just thinking to myself, man, you want to know why your approval ratings are in the toilet? Look in the mirror. Your policies are failing. People don't want to pay $4.75 a gallon for gas, and it's going to be over $5 very soon. They don't want a war against domestic American energy. For some reason with Biden, if you beg Maduro for oil, that's somehow not global warming. But if we produce our own, then it's global warming. Give me a break. What a farce. And so he's creating a lot of these problems. And I'd say between Brandon and COVID, I think there's a lot of voters out there who have reevaluated maybe some of how they voted. Some people just vote one way or another. Maybe their parents were Republicans, so they were Democrats or whatever. Now people are starting to look, wait a minute, do I want to be with a party if this guy's the leader? Do I want to be a part of a party that says I don't have a right to earn a living unless I take boosters every time Fauci tells me to? Do I want to be a part of a party that doesn't believe we should have control over our territory and our borders, like you see what's going on in the southern border? And I think a lot of people are saying, you know what, that's not for me. So it gives us an opportunity, I think, to build a stronger movement here. And I think the southern Florida is going to be absolutely huge to the future of the state.
Well, first, I just want to say that I love that you keep calling him Brandon, because I think it's possible he thinks his name is Brandon. So that's pretty beautiful. Also, I wasn't going to do this at the end. We only have time for one more question, but I wanted to give you a Let's Go Brandon t-shirt. It seems that he should put it on right now and rip it off Hulk Hogan style. All right, one more for you. Sort of on that bravery thing that we talked about before and where that comes from within you and all of these people that are out here, and as we watch this thing happen and watch the media come after you and all of that stuff, what else can they do to fight? What else can they do? What can empower them to just be part of this thing and keep this state right, keep this country right, and go on?
Well, one of the points I'll make, and obviously I mention Biden's failures a lot, and deservedly so, but here's the thing. I could deal with that if, in exchange, I could have a conservative majority on every school board in America, for example. What you can do at the local level to really be involved in your community, particularly with these schools, because I think that we've led a lot at the state level, making sure that obviously the young kids, aren't having the sexuality involved in the gender ideology, also making sure that we don't have things like critical race theory and all these ideologies. And that's important. But really, it's the parents and the people that are running for school board and all these other things. And so, yes, I obviously made a plug for my election. I think it's very important. But I think these school board elections have more importance than ever before. you guys can make a huge difference in your community. And you know, the moms have done great and the parents are energized like never before, and they should be really leading the effort. But you know what? You don't even have to have kids in the school system to be concerned about what's going on with education. Because if we do our job right and we're doing, good, solid education, I think you need to have things like we've pushed in Florida, American civics, understanding the Constitution, understanding all those things. If we're providing a solid foundation for education rather than having these systems become centers of indoctrination, we are going to be so much better off as a state than a lot of these other places.
If you're looking for more honest and thoughtful conversations about politics instead of nonstop yelling, check out our politics playlist. And if you want to watch full interviews on a variety of topics, watch our full episode playlist all right over here. And to get notified of all future videos, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell.